Welcome back, and many thanks for staying with us. Well, the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking is marked every 26th of June. Yes, every year we tend to talk about it, create awareness, but we want to kickstart that discussion today, the 25th of June 2021. And interestingly, this year's theme is share facts on drugs and save lives. And to tell us more about that, we have Dr. ADESANYA AYINDE, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Ogun State. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
And also Mrs. EKWU, the Assistant Commander of Narcotics, NDLEA, Ogun State Command. Welcome to the program, too.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome once again. I want to start with you, Dr. ADESANYA AYINDE. Looking at the fact that, today, tomorrow rather, is the International Day Against Drug Abuse, and we're looking at, trafficking and all of that. Right now, give us a brief summary of the situation when it comes to drug abuse, most especially, in Nigeria.
Well, drug abuse is a it's an epidemic proportion in Nigeria at present, because about 22.8% of our youth take drugs, illicit drugs, ranging from stimulants like cocaine, depressants like alcohol, hallucinogens, and and the like. And we know that this also relates to crime and deleterious effects on the health of the individuals and the populace in general. So the theme of this year is apt, because it says share facts on drugs and save lives.
Okay, Mrs. EKWU, and you are the Assistant Commander of Narcotics, NDLEA Ogun State Command. Yes, marijuana remains the most commonly used illegal drug. Can you bring us up to speed about maybe your activities towards regulating this? We know that it's quite worrisome, the way it's youths, many youths out there, despite the fact that that substance is illegal, but they still have access to this harmful substance somewhat.
Okay. My name, I'm not the Assistant Commander NDLEA. I'm Assistant Commander of Narcotics by rank. So I'm Principal Staff Officer, Drug Demand Reduction Unit of NDLEA. Yes, the fact is that all over the world, marijuana or cannabis is the highest drug use. If we look at that survey of National Survey of 2019, we are made to understand that 10.6 million people use cannabis. That makes it the highest drug people abuse or use. So in NDLEA, as a law enforcement agency, we carry out raid operation to various joints to get the people that deals in this drug, especially the traffickers, the barons, the people that cultivate it. We go after them because at that level it's seen as a crime. But when it comes to people that use drug, when we come across them, because sometimes when you carry out a raid, you pick people that use drug. So when they come to office, when we do what we do, sort out those people that are users, we send them to the counseling department, which I'm the one that do the intervention for them, depending on the assessments. When you assess drug users, because it's not everybody that uses drug that has a problem. We remember in the 2016 survey, where 275 people uses drug. But out of that population, only 31 million people have a drug use disorder. That is to say, the rest 265 uses drug, but they don't have any disorder. So when we do assessment in the office, those people that have disorder are being referred for treatment. Those that have lower risk are being given brief intervention, that is counseling and other intervention to, depending on what you diagnose on that person, because different people have different intervention you give to them.
Okay. Dr. ADESANYA AYINDE, right now, we have been hearing from different quarters, especially from a governor here in the southwestern part of the country saying that probably we should sort of legalize, cannabis sativa, in the country, because it's sort of lucrative to a large extent if government were to look into that business. But looking at the health situation, especially with drug abuse across the country, do you think it's the right time to actually, go into, legalizing cannabis sativa?
Well, I would not think so, because when we talk of for medical reasons, legalizing it for use for medical reasons, we should be extremely discreet about this, because it is very, very much prone to abuse, especially in our own, relatively disorganized society. It has to be strict and it has to be medical, and not just for free, for over the counter. That's my personal opinion about that.
Okay.
Yeah, tomorrow is the day.
Yes.
Activities lined up already to
Yes.
mark the International Day Against Drug Abuse and
Yes.
Illegal Trafficking.
Yes. Like this one we are doing is part of it. Our Ogun State Drug Control Committee, will go around to secondary schools, public, private, to counsel students and to organize, to consolidate on the gains already achieved by, having drug-free associations, drug-free committees in those different schools, because we have about 50 schools in Ogun State that have established drug control committee,
Okay.
yes, club.
Okay, sir. Now, Mrs. Aku, you spoke about something. You said when you do arrest these individuals, you take them for counseling. But then, is counseling the way when it comes to people into drug abuse? Should we be counseling them or should we be prosecuting them? Because you think about some individuals who would think, well, if they even arrest me, they'll cancel me and I'll go back home and I can continue. But do you think we should have prosecution instead? Do you think counseling is the way out to sort of stop this issue of drug abuse across the country?
Yes, when you look at the issue of drug use, you know that there are risk factors to drug use. One of these risk factors to drug use is personality traits. People that are born from a parent that are using drug. People that have mental disorder. People that are born in a community where the use of drug is part of their culture, part of their belief, part of their religious activities, part of their ritual, or people that have been displaced by maybe natural disaster in their community. So these are the risk factors to drug. Criminalizing a drug user, has it addressed these risk factors? So what we are trying to say by the theme of this year, share fast to drug users and saves life. What we are trying to look at is not punishing a drug user, not criminalizing a drug user. What we do is to provide help. They need help. They look at people that have public health issue. So it should be addressed in that form. That is why when we go out for raid and bring users, we place them on counseling.
Okay.
Okay, Dr. ADESANYA, share facts on drugs and save lives. So let's talk about saving lives now. Is there an avenue for these abusers perhaps to get counsel? For those that want to change and they find it very, very hard and they definitely need to go through one therapy or the other?
Definitely. There are avenues, like my partner mentioned. When they are apprehended, they must be counseled. You see, because if you, the Yoruba people say that if you beat a child, you cannot beat the one inside that child. So, but it is that one inside that, whatever predisposes that child to do that, that you must address, and address it strictly. There are opportunities, you see, because now the drug abuse issue is getting worse, because even in areas, in places where we don't even imagine, in primary schools, you have drug abusers. Talk lots of secondary and tertiary institutions. So there is opportunity to counsel, to have specific counselors that will go into such places that will, and we need posters, we need media, information, so that will address people in the parks and garages. There is need for posters, big posters that will display that this drug abuse is evil, and it is not just to criminalize it and say, okay, you must put them behind the bars, because you may just be wasting, precious time and government fund on that. But when you address them persistently, I believe that they will take caution.
Okay, sir. Now, Mrs. EKWU, to a large extent, when it comes to when we talk about drug abuse, a lot of people think about using narcotics, generally cocaine and all of that. But then we are seeing instances where people are sort of addicted to using painkillers or not getting prescribed drugs. Can you shed more light on the fact that it's possible to also abuse drugs even though you are not sort of addicted to a large extent? Because people only think about just narcotics alone. People tend to overuse some regular drugs, even like paracetamol.
Yes, when we talk of drug use, that is taking in whether legal or illegal drug. Then we talk of drug misuse. Drug misuse is using this drug, whether prescription drug or illegal drug, repeatedly without medical prescription. People misuse prescription drug, especially, just as you said, the depressants. It can be stimulants. People misuse it. It's not only the illegal drug that people misuse. And when people misuse this drug repeatedly, to the extent that it becomes a priority to them more than other things they used to do before, it becomes drug dependence. That is when it becomes a public health issue, because that person uses drug irrespective of its negative consequences. It continues to use the drug. That is why we say that dependency is a chronic relapsing disease. At that level, the person is supposed to go for treatment and rehabilitation. And we are drug, to help the person to overcome that dependency.
Okay, as we round off, Dr. Ayinde, succinctly, what are the signs parents can look out for, in their children, in their world, even friends, so for, because I'm talking about early detection now, in terms of advice.
Parents need to be very vigilant. First of all, you have to be careful, really, to be observant of the kind of peer groups that your child moves with. And sometimes it may not be difficult for you to notice that some behaviors, some abnormal, unusual behaviors is being exhibited by your child or by somebody who is the friend of your child. So all these things, they need to be taken care of. And You also need to monitor, you know, the going and the coming of your child. You see, when your child goes to school, take time a little bit to go and check whether that child is truly in the school or not. And when your child is supposed to be back, make sure that you watch the way his or her way back home. So if you are vigilant enough, and also, you see, gather your family in prayer, all right? Dedicate your family to God, all right? And by the time you keep speaking the words of God to your children, they will behave in the manner of the way of God.
Okay, Dr. ADESANYA AYINDE, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Ogun State, many thanks. Thanks for honoring our invitation. And of course, Mrs. EUCHARIA, EKWU, thanks for coming also. Yes, we round up that segment now, but we'll be back shortly for another conversation. So stay with us.